November 22nd, 1963. A date etched in American memory. The world watched in disbelief as President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, vibrant and full of life, was struck down by an assassin's bullet in Dallas, Texas. His presidency, brimming with promise and marked by a bold vision for America's future, was tragically cut short. Kennedy's assassination sent shockwaves through the nation and the world, leaving an irreplaceable void in the realm of leadership. In the tumultuous years that followed, his legacy has endured, a testament to the profound impact of a life lived in service to country and to humanity. John F. Kennedy, the youthful, charismatic leader, remains an enduring icon. He embodied hope, ambition, and a belief in the power of America to achieve greatness. But his story is not just about a single life, however extraordinary. It's about the dreams he ignited, the challenges he confronted, and the spirit of progress he embodied. This film delves into the life, achievements, and enduring legacy of John F. Kennedy, a leader lost too soon. John F. Kennedy's presidency was brief, but its impact continues to shape our world. His words still inspire, his actions still resonate, and his vision for a better future still beckons us forward. This video is an exploration of a life lived in the public eye, a life tragically cut short, and a legacy that continues to inspire generations. We will examine the complexities of the man, the triumphs and the tragedies, and the enduring power of his message. We will journey back to a pivotal era in American history. The Kennedy years were a time of great change and even greater uncertainty. The Cold War cast a long shadow. The civil rights movement demanded justice, and the world watched as a young, dynamic president took on the mantle of leadership. Join us as we delve into the life and times of John F. Kennedy, a leader whose impact transcended his time on Earth. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was born in Brookline, Massachusetts on May 29, 1917. His birthplace, a stately home in a well-to-do suburb of Boston, spoke to the privileged circumstances of his upbringing. His father, Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., was a formidable figure, a self-made millionaire, a shrewd businessman, and a powerful force in Democratic politics. Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, John's mother, was a woman of strong faith, unwavering ambition, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of family and public service. The Kennedy household was a crucible of ambition and achievement. Competition was encouraged, excellence was expected, and the importance of making a mark on the world was instilled in all 9 Kennedy children. John, the second eldest, grew up surrounded by siblings who shared his drive and determination. He was a frail child, often battling illness, but his sharp intellect and quick wit were evident from a young age. Summers were spent at the family's sprawling compound in Hyannisport, Massachusetts, a place where the Kennedy clan gathered for sailing, touch football games, and spirited political debates. These early years, shaped by wealth, ambition, and a strong sense of family, laid the foundation for the man John F. Kennedy would become. His parents' influence, particularly his father's unwavering belief in his children's potential, fueled a desire to excel, to make a difference, and to leave a lasting legacy. The seeds of political ambition were sown early in John F. Kennedy's life, nurtured by a family that valued public service and the pursuit of power. Despite the advantages of his upbringing, John F. Kennedy's early life was not without its challenges. He was plagued by health problems, battling a series of ailments that would continue to afflict him throughout his life. Chronic stomach issues, Addison's disease, and persistent back pain were constant companions, testing his resilience and shaping his perspective. Yet, he refused to let these health challenges define him. He developed a remarkable tolerance for pain, a steely determination to overcome adversity, and a deep appreciation for the fragility of life. His illnesses, while a source of suffering, also fostered in him a sense of empathy and a drive to live life to the fullest. He channeled his energy into academics, excelling in his studies and developing a love for history and literature. He was a voracious reader, devouring books and newspapers, constantly seeking knowledge and expanding his understanding of the world around him. His illnesses, far from holding him back, seemed to fuel his ambition, pushing him to prove himself and to make the most of every opportunity. The shadow of illness, ever present in his life, also had a profound impact on his family. His older brother, Joseph Jr., the Kennedy family's designated torchbearer, died tragically during World War II. This loss devastated the family and thrust John into the role of eldest son, a role he embraced with a heavy heart and a renewed sense of purpose. Education and early influences. John F. Kennedy's education was a testament to his family's commitment to excellence and their belief in the power of knowledge. He attended Choate Rosemary Hall, an elite boarding school in Connecticut, where he excelled academically and began to hone his leadership skills. Though initially a shy and introverted student, he blossomed at Choate, becoming a popular figure known for his wit, charm, and intellectual curiosity. He participated in debates, wrote for the school newspaper, and developed a lifelong love of sailing. From Choate, he went on to Harvard University, following in the footsteps of his father and older brother. At Harvard, he continued to excel academically, majoring in government and graduating with honors. His time at Harvard was also marked by his travels abroad, experiences that broadened his horizons, deepened his understanding of global affairs, and solidified his interest in international relations. One particularly formative experience was his time spent in Europe during his father's tenure as ambassador to the United Kingdom. He witnessed firsthand the rise of fascism, the gathering storm clouds of war, and the delicate balance of power on the world stage. These experiences would profoundly shape his worldview and influence his later decisions as president. Answering the call to service. World War II cast a long shadow over John F. Kennedy's early adulthood. The global conflict, with its stark moral clarity, deeply affected him. He initially considered a career in journalism but felt the pull of duty, the legacy of his family's commitment to public service, and the desire to make a tangible difference. In 1941, despite his chronic health issues, Kennedy enlisted in the U.S. Navy. He desperately wanted to serve his country, to prove his mettle, and to honor the memory of his brother, Joseph Jr., who had died heroically in the war. After rigorous training, Kennedy was assigned command of a patrol torpedo boat in the Pacific Theater. The realities of war were harsh and unforgiving. He faced constant danger, witnessing firsthand the brutality and sacrifice of combat. In August 1943, his boat, PT-109, was rammed and sunk by a Japanese destroyer. The incident tested Kennedy's courage and leadership under unimaginable pressure. Kennedy's actions during the sinking of PT-109 and the harrowing days that followed became the stuff of legend. He displayed remarkable bravery, swimming for hours with an injured crewmate in tow, leading his men through treacherous waters and ultimately ensuring their rescue. The incident earned him the Navy and Marine Corps Medal for heroism and solidified his reputation as a natural leader, cool under pressure and deeply committed to his men. The experience also left an indelible mark on him, shaping his worldview and deepening his understanding of the human cost of conflict. The war, with its stark realities of life and death, solidified Kennedy's commitment to public service and fueled his ambition to make a difference on a larger stage. A rising star in Massachusetts. Returning home a decorated war hero, Kennedy's thoughts turned to politics. The political landscape of post-war America was shifting, and a new generation of leaders was emerging. Encouraged by his father, Kennedy set his sights on representing Massachusetts's 11th congressional district, a traditionally Democratic stronghold. His wartime experiences, his family name, and his charisma made him a formidable candidate. Kennedy's campaign was marked by tireless energy and a genuine connection with the working-class voters of his district. He spoke of economic opportunity, social justice, and a strong national defense. His message resonated with voters, and in 1946, at the age of 29, John F. Kennedy was elected to the United States Congress. His early years in Congress were marked by a commitment to liberal ideals and a willingness to challenge the status quo. He championed labor rights, supported public housing initiatives, and advocated for expanded healthcare access. Kennedy's star was rising quickly in Democratic circles. He possessed a rare combination of intellect, charm, and political acumen that drew people to him. He was a fresh face in a party often seen as out of touch with the concerns of everyday Americans. His youth and charisma, coupled with his family's political connections, made him a force to be reckoned with. His growing reputation as a thoughtful and articulate voice on national issues made him a rising star in American politics. The Senatorial Years. After 3 terms in the House of Representatives, Kennedy set his sights on the United States Senate. In 1952, he challenged and defeated the incumbent Republican Senator Henry Cabot Lodge Jr. in a closely contested election. The victory was a significant one, solidifying Kennedy's status as a rising star in the Democratic Party and propelling him onto the national stage. As a senator, Kennedy continued to champion liberal causes, advocating for civil rights, educational reform, and increased aid to developing nations. He was a vocal critic of Senator Joseph McCarthy's anti-communist witch hunts, arguing that they were a threat to American democracy and a stain on the nation's reputation. His stance against McCarthyism, while controversial at the time, demonstrated his integrity and his commitment to upholding American values. Kennedy's years in the Senate were also marked by personal challenges. His health problems persisted, requiring multiple surgeries and periods of prolonged convalescence. Yet, he persevered, driven by a deep sense of duty and a belief in his ability to make a difference. He used his time recovering from surgery to write, publishing his Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Profiles in Courage, a collection of essays about political figures who had demonstrated extraordinary courage in the face of adversity. As the 1950s drew to a close, John F. Kennedy's thoughts turned to the highest office in the land. His ambition was clear, his charisma undeniable, and his message of hope and progress resonated with a nation on the cusp of change. The stage was set for a young senator from Massachusetts to make his mark on history. John F. Kennedy's presidency began with a call to action, a challenge to the nation to embrace a new frontier. His inaugural address, delivered on a crisp January day in 1961, was a masterpiece of rhetoric and inspiration. "Ask not what your country can do for you," he famously declared. "Ask what you can do for your country." These words, etched in the annals of American history, captured the spirit of optimism and purpose that defined the Kennedy era. Kennedy's new frontier was more than just a slogan. It was a vision for America's future, a bold agenda that encompassed domestic reforms, international engagement, and a commitment to scientific and technological advancement. He believed in the power of government to effect positive change, to uplift the lives of ordinary Americans, and to advance the cause of freedom around the world. His domestic agenda, though ambitious, faced stiff opposition from a Congress controlled by a coalition of conservative Democrats and Republicans. Undeterred, Kennedy used his considerable political skills, his persuasive charm, and his unwavering belief in his vision to push his agenda forward. He fought for increased funding for education, expanded healthcare access, and a higher minimum wage, measures aimed at creating a more just and equitable society. Kennedy's new frontier extended beyond America's borders. He believed in the importance of international engagement, of working with other nations to address shared challenges and promote peace and prosperity. He saw the Cold War not as a clash of ideologies, but as a competition between two superpowers that needed to find ways to coexist peacefully. He called for a strengthening of alliances, increased foreign aid, and a renewed commitment to diplomacy as the primary means of resolving international disputes. The defining moment of John F. Kennedy's presidency, the moment that tested his mettle and revealed his true character, came in October 1962 with the Cuban Missile Crisis. The world watched with bated breath as the United States and the Soviet Union stood on the brink of nuclear war. At the heart of the crisis was the Soviet Union's decision to place nuclear-armed missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from the coast of Florida. The discovery of the missiles, confirmed by aerial reconnaissance photographs, sent shockwaves through the Kennedy administration. The president convened his closest advisors, the group that would become known as the Executive Committee of the National Security Council, or EXCOM, to chart a course through the most dangerous crisis in human history. The options on the table ranged from a full-scale invasion of Cuba to a naval blockade of the island. Kennedy, acutely aware of the devastating consequences of miscalculation, refused to be rushed into a decision. He weighed the options carefully, listening to the advice of his advisors, some of whom urged a swift and decisive military response. He understood that the fate of the world, quite literally, hung in the balance. For 13 tense days, the world held its breath as the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a high-stakes game of nuclear chicken. Kennedy, through a combination of diplomacy, military resolve, and nerves of steel, managed to navigate the crisis without resorting to war. He ordered a naval blockade of Cuba, preventing further Soviet shipments of missiles to the island, and engaged in back-channel negotiations with Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. The race to space. John F. Kennedy's vision for America extended beyond the confines of Earth. He believed in the power of science and technology to inspire and unite the nation, to push the boundaries of human achievement, and to secure America's place as a global leader. Nowhere was this belief more evident than in his commitment to the space race, a competition for technological supremacy with the Soviet Union that captured the imagination of the world. The space race had begun in earnest in 1957 with the Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik, the first artificial satellite to orbit Earth. Sputnik's success, while a scientific marvel, was a blow to American prestige, fueling fears that the United States was falling behind its Cold War rival in technological prowess. Kennedy saw an opportunity to galvanize the nation, to reassert American leadership in science and technology, and to inspire a new generation of scientists, engineers, and mathematicians. In a speech delivered at Rice University in 1962, Kennedy laid out his vision for America's space program, famously declaring, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard, because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills, because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win." Kennedy's words were more than just rhetoric. He backed his words with action, securing increased funding for NASA, setting ambitious goals for the space program, and rallying the nation behind the dream of landing a man on the moon before the end of the decade. He understood that the space race was more than just a competition for national prestige. It was a test of American ingenuity, a symbol of national purpose and a testament to the human spirit's boundless capacity for exploration and discovery. A call to service, the Peace Corps. John F. Kennedy believed deeply in the power of service, in the idea that each individual had a responsibility to contribute to the betterment of society. He understood that true leadership was not about power or privilege, but about using one's talents and resources to make a difference in the lives of others. This belief found its most enduring expression in the creation of the Peace Corps, one of the most successful and admired foreign aid programs in American history. The idea for the Peace Corps was born during Kennedy's presidential campaign, inspired by his interactions with students who were eager to use their skills and idealism to make a difference in the world. He envisioned a program that would send young Americans to developing nations to work alongside local communities, sharing their skills and knowledge, promoting peace and understanding, and fostering goodwill between nations. Shortly after taking office, Kennedy signed an executive order establishing the Peace Corps. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of young Americans, inspired by Kennedy's call to service, volunteered to serve in countries around the world. Peace Corps volunteers worked on a wide range of projects, from building schools and clinics to teaching English and promoting agricultural development. The Peace Corps embodied Kennedy's belief in the power of citizen diplomacy, in the idea that ordinary Americans could make a real difference in the world. The program fostered cross-cultural understanding, broke down stereotypes, and created lasting bonds of friendship and cooperation between the United States and nations around the world. The Peace Corps became a symbol of American idealism, the enduring power of service, and a fitting legacy for a president who believed in the power of individuals to make a difference. A legacy for civil rights. John F. Kennedy's presidency coincided with a pivotal moment in the fight for civil rights in America. The civil rights movement, with its demands for equality and justice, was gaining momentum, challenging the nation to confront the legacy of slavery and segregation. Kennedy, while not initially a vocal champion of civil rights, came to recognize the moral urgency of the movement and the need for federal action to dismantle segregation and ensure equal rights for all Americans. Kennedy's views on civil rights were shaped by his personal experiences, his Catholic faith, and his growing understanding of the injustices faced by African Americans. He had witnessed segregation firsthand during his travels through the American South, and he was moved by the courage and dignity of the civil rights activists who were risking their lives to demand equality. In June 1963, following a wave of protests and the violent suppression of peaceful demonstrators in Birmingham, Alabama, Kennedy delivered a powerful televised address to the nation on civil rights. "We are confronted primarily with a moral issue," he declared. "It is as old as the scriptures and is as clear as the American Constitution. The question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities." Kennedy called for the passage of comprehensive civil rights legislation that would outlaw discrimination based on race, color, religion, or national origin. He understood that ending segregation and achieving racial equality would require a sustained national effort, a commitment from all Americans to create a more just and equitable society. Though Kennedy would not live to see the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, his words and actions helped to galvanize public support for civil rights and pave the way for the landmark legislation that would dismantle segregation and enshrine equal rights into law. By the fall of 1963, President Kennedy was deeply immersed in the challenges of his presidency. The Cold War continued to cast a long shadow. The civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and he faced a tough re-election campaign ahead. Despite these pressures, Kennedy recognized the importance of connecting with the American people, of taking his message directly to the heartland. It was this belief that led him to embark on a political trip to Texas in November 1963, a trip that would tragically cut his presidency short. The trip to Texas was intended to shore up support for Kennedy within the Democratic Party and to lay the groundwork for his re-election campaign the following year. Texas, with its large block of electoral votes, was a crucial state for any Democrat hoping to win the presidency. Kennedy was eager to mend fences with the state's powerful Democratic factions, who were divided on issues such as civil rights and the administration's handling of the Cold War. The President and First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy arrived in Dallas on November 22nd, greeted by cheering crowds and a palpable sense of excitement. The sun shone brightly as the presidential motorcade, a long procession of limousines and Secret Service vehicles, made its way through the crowded streets of downtown Dallas, heading towards a luncheon at the Trade Mart, where Kennedy was scheduled to deliver a speech. The atmosphere was festive, the crowds large and enthusiastic. President Kennedy, ever the politician, relished the opportunity to connect with the American people, to shake hands, to share a smile, to inspire hope. He had removed the bubble top from his limousine, wanting to be closer to the people who lined the streets, eager to catch a glimpse of their young president. As the motorcade approached Dealey Plaza, a sense of normalcy pervaded, a belief that this day would be like any other. As the presidential motorcade turned onto Elm Street, a fateful moment approached, a moment that would forever alter the course of American history. At approximately 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, as the motorcade passed the Texas School Book Depository, gunshots rang out, piercing the air, shattering the illusion of normalcy. The sharp crack of rifle fire echoed through Dealey Plaza, sending shockwaves through the crowd and leaving a nation in stunned disbelief. The first shot struck President Kennedy in the back, exiting through his neck. The second, a fatal blow, struck his head, propelling him violently backward. The crowd, initially confused, erupted in chaos as the gravity of the situation became horrifyingly clear. Secret Service agents, their worst nightmare realized, scrambled to shield the President and First Lady with their bodies, pushing them towards the floor of the limousine. The limousine, now a speeding hearse carrying a dying president, raced towards Parkland Memorial Hospital, its siren wailing, a desperate attempt to outrun the unthinkable. At the hospital, a team of doctors worked frantically to save President Kennedy's life, but their efforts proved futile. The damage was too severe, the injuries too great. At 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, 35th President of the United States, was pronounced dead. The news of Kennedy's assassination spread like wildfire, carried by radio waves and television signals, reaching every corner of the In the aftermath of the assassination, a pall of grief and disbelief settled over America. The nation mourned the loss of its young president, a leader who had embodied hope, ambition, and a belief in a brighter future. Flags flew at half-mast, businesses closed their doors, and millions of Americans gathered around their televisions, united in grief and searching for answers in the face of unimaginable tragedy. Lee Harvey Oswald, a former U.S. Marine with known ties to the Soviet Union, was arrested shortly after the assassination and charged with the murder of President Kennedy and the fatal shooting of Dallas police officer J.D. Tippit, who had questioned Oswald after the assassination. Oswald maintained his innocence, claiming he was a patsy. But his fate, like that of the president he was accused of killing, would be tragically cut short. On November 24th, just 2 days after Kennedy's assassination, while being transferred to a more secure county jail, Oswald was shot and killed by Jack Ruby, a distraught Dallas nightclub owner, in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters. The shooting, captured live on television, deepened the sense of shock and disbelief that gripped the nation and fueled a maelstrom of conspiracy theories that persist to this day. With Oswald's death, many questions surrounding the assassination remained unanswered. To investigate the assassination and address the swirling rumors and suspicions, President Lyndon B. Johnson, Kennedy's successor, appointed a special commission headed by Chief Justice Earl Warren. The Warren Commission, after a 10-month investigation, concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in killing President Kennedy. The assassination of John F. Kennedy was a watershed moment in American history, a moment that profoundly shaped the nation's psyche and left an indelible mark on its collective memory. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the United States grappled with a sense of loss, a loss of innocence, a loss of faith in the idea that even the most powerful leader was immune to the forces of hatred and violence. Kennedy's death, in many ways, marked the end of an era. The end of the optimism and idealism that had characterized the early 1960s. The nation, plunged into mourning, seemed to lose its bearings, its sense of direction, its belief in the possibility of progress. The assassination, with its unanswered questions and lingering suspicions, cast a long shadow over American politics, fueling a climate of mistrust and cynicism that would only deepen in the tumultuous years that followed. Yet, from the ashes of tragedy, a renewed sense of purpose emerged. The nation, united in grief, found solace in the shared experience of mourning, in the outpouring of tributes and remembrances, in the reaffirmation of the values that Kennedy had championed: courage, compassion, service, and a belief in the power of hope to overcome even the darkest of times. The Kennedy legacy, forged in the crucible of tragedy, transcended the political divisions and social upheavals that marked the 1960s. It became a touchstone for a generation, a reminder of the importance of civic engagement, of the power of words to inspire and unite, and of the enduring belief in the possibility of a better tomorrow. John F. Kennedy possessed a rare gift, a gift for language, a gift for connecting with audiences, a gift for articulating a vision that resonated deeply with the American people. His words, imbued with eloquence, wit, and a profound sense of history, transcended the political moment, becoming part of the nation's cultural lexicon, quoted, debated, and cherished by generations to come. From his iconic inaugural address, with its call to ask not what your country can do for you, to his stirring speeches on civil rights, space exploration, and the importance of public service, Kennedy's words possessed a timeless quality, a capacity to inspire, to challenge, to comfort, and to remind us of the enduring power of hope in the face of adversity. His speeches were more than just political rhetoric. They were carefully crafted narratives, imbued with literary allusions, historical references, and a deep understanding of the human condition. Kennedy understood that words had the power to move people, to shape opinions, to inspire action, and to leave an enduring legacy. His speeches were often infused with humor, self-deprecation, and a disarming charm that endeared him to audiences. He could be serious and statesmanlike one moment, then witty and engaging the next. He connected with people on a personal level, making them feel as though he understood their hopes, their dreams, and their concerns. John F. Kennedy's legacy is complex and multifaceted, a tapestry woven from triumph and tragedy, hope and heartbreak, promise and unfulfilled potential. His presidency, though tragically cut short, left an indelible mark on American history, inspiring generations with its message of hope, its call to service, and its belief in the power of human ingenuity to overcome even the most daunting challenges. The Kennedy years were a time of great change and even greater uncertainty. The Cold War cast a long shadow. The civil rights movement demanded justice, and the world watched as a young, dynamic president took on the mantle of leadership. Kennedy's presidency was a time of both promise and peril, a time when the fate of the world seemed to hang in the balance. Yet, through it all, Kennedy remained a beacon of hope, a symbol of what was possible when courage and vision aligned. He challenged Americans to reach for the stars, to embrace the cause of peace, to confront injustice, and to believe in their own ability to make a difference in the world. His legacy is not defined by his accomplishments alone, but by the spirit of idealism, the commitment to service, and the belief in the possibility of progress that he embodied. He reminded us that one person can make a difference, that words have the power to inspire, and that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, the human spirit can endure and ultimately triumph. John F. Kennedy's life and presidency, though tragically cut short, left an enduring legacy, one that continues to inspire and challenge us today. He reminded us that leadership is not about wielding power, but about inspiring others to reach for their highest aspirations. He showed us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act even in the face of it. And he taught us that hope, even in the darkest of times, is the most powerful force for change. Kennedy's vision for America, a vision of a nation striving for justice, peace, and progress, remains an unfinished symphony. His words still resonate, his ideals still beckon, and his legacy continues to shape the contours of American history. The torch he carried, the torch of hope, courage, and service, has been passed to new generations, entrusted to those who believe, as he did, that we can build a better world, a world worthy of his sacrifice. As we reflect on his life and legacy, let us remember not just the man himself, but the ideals he embodied, the dreams he ignited, and the challenges he set before us. Let us honor his memory not with empty words, but with a renewed commitment to service, a dedication to justice, and an unwavering belief in the power of hope to overcome even the most daunting obstacles. For John F. Kennedy's legacy is not just about the past, but about the future. It is about the world we can create together, a world where every citizen is empowered to make a difference, where every voice is heard, and where the torch of hope continues to burn brightly, guiding us toward a brighter tomorrow.